Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It's sending me on Instagram. Growing up, I always wondered why we didn't have a family. I mean, I had both my parents, but we never visited my grandparents, cousins, parents until I turned 15. That's when I started getting curious and I started asking questions. Finally, I asked my parents about my grandparents. I remember meeting them when I was a kid. That's when my dad got really upset. He told me to stop asking questions because we didn't need family. I immediately went onto Facebook. It wasn't hard to find my aunt, my mom's sister. I messaged her and she told me something disturbing. She said my mom and dad were related. They were half brother and sister. Part 2 is up. Disclaimer, is not my story time. It's sending me on Instagram. When my aunt told me the disturbing truth. My mom and dad were half brother and sister. According to my aunt, when they were in high school, they always spent time together. Everyone just thought they were best friends. But apparently, my aunt walked in on them making out one day. When she told her parents, my grandparents, they obviously freaked out and tried to separate them. That's when they tried to send my dad to a military school. 1 week before they sent him, my mom and dad decided to run away together. They finally ran away and never spoke to their family again until I was born. My grandmother begged them to get rid of me. My parents kept me. Part 3 is up. Disclaimer, is not my story time. It's on Instagram. After I was born, my grandmother begged my mom to give me up for adoption. My parents were both 18 when they had me. Not only were they jobless, they were also half brother and sister. Since my parents had ran away from home, my grandparents didn't want to help them financially. Luckily, my parents started their own business and they are successful today. Finding out that my parents are half brother and sister, I understand our family history and why we were never close to our family. Finally confronted my parents and they denied everything. I decided I'd do the same thing they did. I ran away for 3 nights, hid in my bestie's basement. Finally, my parents came over and told me the entire truth. My parents do love me, but they keep me away from my family. What should I do? Should I forgive them?
Story time about how I found out my ex-boyfriend was literally a pathological liar while I'm getting ready. So me and this guy met through Snapchat, through SFS. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I used to be the SFS queen. So we started talking and shit. We're gonna call him Bean. Anyways, but we started talking. It was good for a couple of months. Keep in mind, we were talking for about like 6 months. Yeah. So actually, me and Bean never really made things official for good reasons, but we actually did talk for like 6 months, so I feel like kind of counts. I don't really know. So basically, he didn't live in the same city as me. He lived like about 2 hours away, which is not that far, but anyways, we were talking about seeing each other and like actually like meeting in real life. I never got to meet this man. Yeah. So this one night we were gonna meet at my local mall, like a little child I was. We are gonna meet her at my local mall, and I was waiting for him to come for like about 3 hours. Yeah, I waited in a public mall for 3 hours for him to show up. Did he show up? No, he didn't. I was sitting there like an idiot, blowing up his phone, asking him where he is. No answer. Turned his location off and everything. No answer for about 3 hours. So what did I do? I called my mom, got her to pick me up, and I went straight home and bawled my eyes out. He finally texted me when I went home. Coincidence? He finally texted me back and he was like, "Oh, sorry, I got busy and I couldn't answer." Next. This Bean was a bum. He was a bum. He was literally a bum. That was the moment I realized he was a bum. But did I block him? Did I break up with him? No. Because I was also a bum. Used to be a bum. He gave me a dumb little excuse. And me being also dumb, I believed it. I was honestly really hurt though. Because like, that was like the first time we actually like made plans after talking for so long. And I was so excited to meet him. So he basically did the same thing about 5 more times, and I got over it. If we're gonna be in a relationship, I'm gonna want to see you 24/7. Go to part 2. Okay, this is part 2. So it was a night when I was gonna like end with him because I was just tired of it, bro. Like, what did he do 2 hours later? He made his best friend text me, call me actually, tell me he died because he overdosed, because he was so sad that I broke up with him. And the worst part was his best friend was literally making me feel like it was my fault. I was getting no text back, no nothing, so I just went to bed thinking that Bean died on me and that it was my fault. So I woke up the next morning. I had a text from Bean. Woke up from the dead. Bean woke up from the dead. He has risen. He woke up from the dead. Me being the little dumb I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like I'm gonna come back to you. Like, you were just in the hospital because you OD'd. He was never in the hospital. He lied. He lied about everything. Literally everything.
My husband and I decided 6 months ago that he would not take a job in a different city, but less than a week after that, he informed me he was taking it. That meant he'd be working in another city 4.5 hours away in a different state, 5 days a week, while I worked full-time and would be responsible for taking care of our 6-month-old and 2-year-old by myself during the week. For context, we talked over and over before we got married about how I wanted a partner who would be 50-50 with me if we had kids. So, not only did he disregard our joint conversation, he was also going back on our vows and abandoning me with 2 young children. That's how I see it. Anyway, I went into survival mode. I have lost a noticeable amount of weight due to stress, and I even had suicidal thoughts for a bit because my world crumbled when he left. Everything I thought I knew was changing, and I didn't know how to handle anything. Fast forward 6 months to now, I'm no longer feeling depressed or in complete survival mode. I finally felt comfortable asking my parents for help. They retired and moved down to my city to be closer to the grandkids, but they raised me to not rely on them, so it's been hard to ask instead of waiting for them to volunteer. Yes, more therapy, I know. And I've been able to take a few work trips and one personal trip to clear my head and gather my thoughts and actually have time to think things through. Unfortunately, I'm thinking I'm moving on from my husband. I gave him until March 2024 to find a realistic way to get back to our city full-time. But now I feel like I'm in a holding pattern and can't move forward because I'm waiting on yet another decision from him. And I can feel me losing love and attachment to him over time. I don't think I'll want to be his wife by next March, and I don't know what to do about that. I'm so tired by the end of the week and have work I need to catch up on due to focusing on my girls during the week that when my husband is here on weekends, I use that time for him to bond with the kids and I work. I'm so tired that I am in bed by 8:30 while he likes to stay up late. Then I'm up early with the girls while he sleeps. My oldest has been sleeping in bed with me ever since her daddy left. Even when we get her to fall asleep in her own bed, she wakes up crying and comes to find me. So my husband and I don't even sleep together when he is home. I don't know if my feelings will last for him through next year, and I'm scared what that means for me and my family.
So on my lunch break, I'm driving to Dunkin' Donuts. This white van is like driving the same speed as me. And I try to speed up because I don't like cars like driving next to me. And then as soon as I start speeding up, he throws something out the window. And I don't see what it is, but it definitely hits my car. So whenever this happens, I like, you know what I'm saying? Now I want smoke. So now I'm like speeding up to try to like look at him in his face and be like, dude, like, what's the deal? But he slows down. Like now he's trying to avoid me. And I even got a video of the truck. Like there's no license plate or anything. So yeah, today I pull up to my house and my car is rattling. And like, so my husband pops the hood to see what's wrong with it. And y'all, he threw a knife out the window and it ended up in the hood of my car. Like,
Chisme time, so make sure you grab a snack, sit back, relax, and let's get on with the chisme. But when I was in first grade, I had this teacher, and his name was Mr. Goat. Now, for some reason, Mr. Goat absolutely hated it when you would show up to his class. And I mean, he hated it. He would also hate when you would ask him questions. And I remember I wasn't that good at math, so I would always ask him math questions. So then this one specific day, I ended up asking him a math question. And instead of him just giving me an attitude, he ended up taking it to a whole nother level. Mr. Goat ended up looking at the class, and he was like, my wife left me. And then he turned and he looked at me, and he's like, you're the reason why she left me. I was obviously confused because, like I said, we were only first graders. So then after that, Mr. Goat started screaming. He was so loud that you can hear him from outside. So then a few minutes in, the principal comes in and she talks to him outside of the room. Fast forward to the next day, I come to school and I see that we have a sub. Me being nosy, I was like, hey, where's Mr. Goat? Why is he not here? And the sub was like, oh, I don't know, something happened. So then for the rest of the day, I didn't ask anything, but then eventually I bumped into the principal. So I was like, oh, well, if anybody's gonna know, she's gonna know. So I was like, hey, why isn't Mr. Goat here? She was like, oh, well, he was on drogas. You know, the good stuff. After that, I just kind of left it like that, and I never seen Mr. Goat ever again in that school.